Hey everyone, welcome to the Staff Chat Zoomcast podcast, whatever you want to call it. So tonight, number one, John is still in Collinsville because he hasn't moved to Carlinville yet, and so there's storms down there, so we might lose John. And also, Cameron's having internet issues, so he's not here right now. He might pop on. I'm not really sure, so we'll find out. But I'm Adam. I'm the visual arts director at Cross Church. I'll just go ahead and introduce everyone because it's easier. We also have John, which is the mobilization pastor at Cross Church, and then we have Eric, which is the network worship pastor at Cross Church as well. Obviously, all of us work at Cross Church because that's why we are doing this,
and why it's called Staff Chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going to do similar to what we've been doing. We'll have a random news article that we've found, and then we're going to have a topic as well that we picked out, and we're just going to chat and have fun. So hope you guys enjoy. If you've joined us already, we're glad you joined us, but basically we're going to go with some articles. So I'll go with mine. So this one's a little I don't know. No, I did not get a haircut, Gretchen. I wet my hair before this because it was crazy. Basically, so Hong Kong had all that stuff going on. They had the protests and all those kind of things before, COVID and things like that. And the protests went on for forever. And I think technically they would still be going on. They're trying to have democracy or whatever. So some ice cream shop in China has created what they're donning tear gas ice cream. And I guess it's basically made with black peppercorns. And so it's kind of basically they said it tastes like tear gas. It feels difficult to breathe at first, and it's really pungent and irritating. It makes me want to drink a lot of water immediately. And then, so basically it's almost like a sign of support in the pro-democracy movement that's happening, I guess. And so I just found that really interesting that they would make something like that. I don't know. I can't imagine it tastes good or is a good ice cream at all, but I thought that was kind of cool that they're kind of, I don't know, making something that
I don't know that I would call it cool. As somebody who has been tear gassed, I don't know that is something that I would ever wish upon somebody, or just willingly be like, you know what, I really want to support this movement, so I'm going to go ahead and willingly be tear gassed for this.
Yeah.
So that sounds horrible to me. However, Silver Dollar City makes fresh taffy or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can go in and watch it being made and all that stuff. And a friend of ours brought us some back from Silver Dollar City, and it was called Wildfire or something like that. And it was cinnamon flavored, and I didn't think anything of it. And so I opened one up, and they come in a little baggage. You only get 4 of them. So I opened one up, and I put it in my mouth, and it was uber cinnamon. It burned immediately. Well, the friends who had dropped it off were continuing on a walk, and they ran into Hayden out. He was riding his bike or something, and they're like, "Oh, I just dropped off some taffy with your dad." So Hayden comes back to the house, runs in the front door, "I heard they gave you taffy. I want some." And I'm like, "Okay."
All right.
I hand him one. And he just takes it, doesn't even look at it, or he just opens it up and throws it in his mouth. His eyes get real big, and he's starting to sweat immediately. And I'm like, that could not have worked any better. So while I don't wish tear gas on my enemies, so hot of a cinnamon Laffy Taffy to make my son cry is acceptable.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, and so the shop said that prior to the social distancing regulations, they were selling 20 to 30 scoops a day of this ice cream.
My gosh.
But I assume it's because there's a lot of there's a lot of like artisan ice cream places, especially if you go to like California and things like that, where they just make some weird, it's probably just oh yeah, I'll try that. That's weird. That sounds really weird, and it's probably horrible. But it's like hey, smell this. It smells terrible. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's gross. You're like, why do you sniff it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm just imagining myself at like I'm envisioning it as like, it's going through the neighborhood, obviously, on an ice cream truck around here. So I'd be like, excuse me, do you have any vanilla? I'd much rather have that than tear gas. Thank you. For my money, yeah, I'd love to see the pro commercials on this. For my money, when I want some ice cream, I want some tear gas ice cream, and it's gonna.
It better make me gag.
Oh my gosh! How do you? Yeah, I don't know how you sell that product, but it's a
I don't know. So they tried. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. So how they make it is they roast and grind whole black peppercorns and then make them into gelato. But so like he tried like wasabi and mustard and was trying to like replicate the specific taste of tear gas. So I mean I don't know. just one of those weird things.
My gosh, that's another funny video waiting to happen for Landon Ashworth. So he could just be like, no, that's not quite it. Oh.
One of the things that I remember most about the tear gas was snot coming out of everything. Like there's snot pouring out of my nose, which you expect, but then there's like snot coming out of your eyes and they're all red and puffy. And you want to wipe your eyes, but you've got tear gas on your hands.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's horrible. It's bad. So,
wow. Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense. People want to protest however they can and stand with people who are protesting, and it's one way that they're going to do it. And maybe they're giving the proceeds back to whatever the cause is, pro-democracy.
Hopefully.
There. And, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I don't think that was in the article.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know 100% for sure. Well, maybe not 100%, but we hope that Ben & Jerry's is not picking up this flavor at any time soon.
Yeah.
But you never know, because Jelly Belly does the Bean Boozled.
Yeah. All right.
So you never know. I mean, you could get a snot jelly bean from Jelly Belly. So why not a tear gas one?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that is true.
Well, like some of those hot sauces that you took on, John, that's like getting, mace poured down your throat. So
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. My article is nowhere near as fun or interesting, but really more of what your thoughts are. So this week, Madison County, which is where I live, voted overwhelmingly, like 26-2, to defy the governor's orders for the stay-at-home order that he has extended in his phased-out plan, and they have developed and come up with their own phase plan of when Madison County can reopen. And so, Belleville News Democrat, which is a local newspaper here, reporting on that, making it sound like it's this great thing. And then immediately within 24 hours, almost every municipality in Madison County also released a statement saying, yeah, that's dumb. We're not going to do that. Which I got really excited when Madison County voted to open up anyway. I'm like, yes, I can go sit down and eat in a restaurant, which I'm dying to go sit in a restaurant and eat food rather than eat it in my car. But then the cities are saying, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're afraid the government's going to take our money away. So the conversation is what your thoughts and opinion are on counties opening up. I know there are at least 3 or 4 in Illinois who have voted to open up, and I'm sure more will vote as well. And then towns beyond that coming out and saying, yeah, I know the county says we can, but we're still not going
Yeah. I think the meme on my page said it all on my opinions on it, where it's a scene from Dodgeball when he was like, "That's an interesting strategy there, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him." That's going to be every surrounding county, because Madison has now placed himself as, I volunteer as tribute. We shall be the guinea pigs for to see if things are going to go back south or if they're going to go positive. But I think I saw it best when there's not only the funding that's in question, there's also a question of insurance. And there's a lawyer friend of mine who was on one of the threads around here on Facebook, and I think he put it in major detail of, if somebody happens to slip at your restaurant and fall, or if there's accidents or things like that nature, your insurance more than likely is not going to cover you. And they won't be obligated to, because of the actual order that you're going against. So it seems like the cards were kind of stacked against everything, even from the get-go. But I don't know. He went into greater detail, and he understands a lot more of that than I do. But he seemed to think that they were between a rock and a hard place with that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's beyond the governor's power, or infringing on our constitutional rights. It sucks. Like, I don't like being stuck at home. But I also understand why it exists. A lot of the argument is that we're not Chicago. But it's like, I grew up in Belleville, and Belleville's not huge, but it's big enough that there's a lot of cases down there. And I have my mom who has had cancer for however many years and has been actively on chemo. So I understand the frustration, but I also understand why people are following it too. So I mean, I'm just I'm along the lines of, I'm not an expert. I'm not a medical professional. I don't know what I'm talking about. And, I'll just follow whatever the governor. I mean, if the governor is saying that he's talking to experts, then I have to, believe and trust his judgment. So, I mean, there's not really much I can do about it, but I do miss being able to go to a restaurant, or I do miss being able to go in a store and not wear a mask. But I also understand why, those precautions are having to be taken. So,
and kind of laddering off of that, I mean, as much as I miss restaurants and stuff right now, I also know that there's businesses that are just flat out hurting. I don't want to miss the actual business being there in the future. So, I mean, there doesn't seem to be.
It feels like a lose-lose.
Yeah. It's like, man, what do you do with that?
Yeah, I understand the small business owner that is worried about losing their money, losing their business. But I also understand the person that, is sick or immunocompromised, that is, or just anyone. Like, there is a small business, but there's also the lives that we're saving too, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Alex's sentiment is pretty good. Like, just kind of sick of everyone arguing. I don't really care.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Basically, we're talking about like
the Madison County stuff. The big thing. Yeah.
Madison County deciding to defy the governor's orders, basically.
Yeah. I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you by any chance hear a honk?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. That was me.
Yeah. I figured it was you when you were driving by. Okay.
Well, shoot, guys. Somehow I lost my. I was messing around with it and I lost my headphone thing. So now I'm with live sound.
Well, we don't have a feedback, which is good.
Oh, there we go. I got it back. I don't know how, but all right.
Fixed it.
That was weird. Yeah, you
Okay.
scared it.
Yeah.
Who wants to share their? You got Eric and Cameron.
Yeah. So I'm Cameron Lewis. I'm the Carlinville youth pastor. Oh wait.
That had internet issues
Yeah.
and had to drive home.
We'll see y'all next week. All right.
Internet was real bad. I thought it was my computer at first because I have an older computer, and then found out quickly it was not my computer. So, yes. So I don't know what Adams was, I don't even know whose was the Madison County. So maybe you've done this one already. Hopefully not.
It was the guy who lives in Madison County.
Oh, okay, got it. Here we go.
Me. It was me.
Yeah. So I found an article where a man challenged his wife
Oh, okay.
to a. Have you read this one? Did you see this one?
Well, I saw the headline.
Okay. So a man challenged his wife to a sword fight. Well, actually, ex-wife to a sword fight in the middle of court. They're having like a battle over custody and all these things. And so it says David Orstorm, sorry, said to the judge, "I want to fight my wife and my wife's attorney." And his exact like wording after that is, he said, "I want to rend their souls from their bodies."
My gosh.
And so he challenged them in the middle of court to a sword fight to solve all the custody battles. And the reason the article came out was on the 11th, because like the judge actually suspended his custody rights for the time being. This happened in like January. And so he couldn't see his kids. And then he had to get like psychiatric evaluation to see if he was crazy or not. And it came back that he was just angry and he's not crazy. So he's in the clear.
So you're sure this was an article and not one of the later seasons of The Highlander,
Yeah.
right? when the show gets really bad,
I challenge you to a duel.
there can only be one.
I mean, here's my question: is there some like old law in Iowa that trial by combat is actually still like a legal?
Yeah,
You know,
there's nothing wrong with that. If both parties
Like
request
Iowa.
combat,
Oh,
I'm all for it.
I can't remember. As I was looking up weird articles, I actually looked up there is a college that is there is a law that it is illegal for you to walk around campus without your sword.
that
I
only
need
makes
to go
sense.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to leave home without their sword?
Right.
Right.
Like,
Not me.
Yeah.
but my mind immediately went to the episode of How I Met Your Mother where Marshall and Ted are fighting over who gets the apartment, and so they like break into this spontaneous sword fight. They're like, "How awesome is this? Like, we should have been doing this all along." And then Lily walks in and gets stabbed in the shoulder with a
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen. However, it's a good story to tell.
Man.
Yep.
Or
That's
you could go The Office where Andy and Dwight are fighting over Angela. And so I challenge you to a duel, and she said, "I will respect the results of the duel.
Wow.
Whoever wins, that's who I'm going to get. That's who I'm going to marry."
Man. All right. Am I up now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, shockingly, we are going to have another article from Florida.
Yes.
However, this one's going to surprise you because this one's going to have some positivity. Florida has been dogged enough with all of their bad news. We finally
think
get
they
some
have.
good news.
Yeah.
So let me set this up for you here. Carter Hess is his name, of Panama City. He's a veteran who lost his leg when he was on a tour in Afghanistan in 2012. He with the Walter Reed Medical Center in Maryland designed and adapted his prosthetic leg, which was about $3,000 made of titanium, because he was a surfer. So they designed this specifically so he could be active and go surfing still.
Huh.
So while he was surfing, and here's a picture of him
Nice.
surfing away. Nice. So while he was surfing one day, it happened where the wave kind of crashed down on him and he lost the prosthetic leg in the ocean. And he didn't understand why, because these waves were nothing compared to the stuff that he's been hit with before. It just must have hit like at the right angle and knocked it loose or something. So his friends and whatnot were always kind of, as friends do, they were dogging him a little bit and sent him every single article or something about somebody finding a prosthetic leg, whether it was from like New Zealand or whatever. So in a week or so, it happened that a 13-year-old kid and his dad were out scuba diving and treasure hunting. The kid's name is Sebastian Morris, and they found the leg. And instead of like most, it says in the article that most treasure hunters will just have that mounted to their wall as like some sort of trophy. But I don't know. Apparently, it's like Rocket Raccoon off the Avengers movie, like trying to get the dude's eye or something. I don't know. Or Winter Soldier's arm. So as it came about, this kid was compassionate enough to be like, "Hey, this is really interesting looking. This belongs to somebody. I need to get this back to him." So through like social media, he was out there and like, telling everybody, hey, sending out the messages and whatnot. So eventually this happened right here. Sebastian reattaching the leg on a beach right there.
That's awesome.
And now they each got like a friend out of it, and they're going to go scuba diving together sometime when all this stuff is past and over with here.
Hopefully he doesn't lose it again.
Right. But man, I was just like, good on you there, Florida. Good job.
Yeah, that's sweet.
The good news is, if it falls off while he's scuba diving, he already has a tank and can
He's
just
right
go
there.
and get it.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
that's
not
true.
getting bashed around by some sort of wave or anything and not knowing where it goes.
But I imagine it's pretty hard to swim with only one leg and fin.
Right. That's
So-
what I was going to say. He might lean to the left, or
He just swims in circles.
3 rights make a left and 3 lefts make a right. So he'll figure it out.
But good on the kid, man. I was like, dang, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's crazy, like all of the like, I guess, technological advancements they've made in that kind of area. Because I saw one the other day, and it had like modes where if you I think if you hit your heel or something in a certain way, it would change. So like there was one mode that was walking and one for biking, and you could program it, because for biking you want like more free movement of your leg. It was just like just crazy
That is
to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and, I think it was. Man, I saw another article. I can't remember where it was. Maybe China or Japan or somewhere. They're using robotic dogs to encourage social distancing.
Hmm.
It was kind of creepy. Like
Like if you get too close to somebody, it'll bite your leg.
I
or what?
don't know. I didn't really I saw the headline, and I just saw
Get back.
a yellow headless like robotic dog like walking.
Yeah. So I know in Japan, and I've not seen it, but I've read about it in a book called Alone Together. They have like pet therapy robots that they put in like nursing homes. So they're like these robotic companions, therapist style dogs who live in the nursing homes and are like companions of people there. And they say, it goes over really well. I mean, the point of the book was like the opposite of that, but they say it goes well in Japan.
Oh, it's Spot,
It's
which
what?
is the it's Spot, the four-legged robot from dang it, what's the place called? I don't remember.
IKEA.
No,
Target.
Boston Dynamics.
Menards.
Boston Dynamics.
Radio
because
Shack.
Yeah, really.
because Adam Savage from MythBusters has one, and he I don't remember what the name of them are, but it's like the old like carts from like Renaissance kind of era period where it's like a one-seater and you'd have a horse. I don't remember what the title of, but so he was able to hook one up to where it would like actually roll and carry him, kind of thing. It's a pretty funny video.
He's got a
Yeah,
chariot with a robotic dog.
basically. Okay, so I wanted to update on Trial by Combat, which I was researching. So technically, it has not ever formally been abolished, like by the government at all. So technically, Trial by Combat is legal, but there's been multiple people that have tried it and said dueling is illegal and other things. So I don't know, but it's kind of interesting.
Man.
Dueling is illegal.
Well, I think
Like,
That's what they said. So there was it said that in McNatt versus Richards in 1983, the Delaware Court of Chancery rejected the defendant's request for trial by combat to the death on the grounds that dueling was illegal. So I don't know. I'm not really sure.
I think
like Alexander Hamilton was killed while dueling. That's
Dude.
how Aaron Burr killed him. So
I was gonna make a reference to that. Good on you, man. I was like, nah, nobody will get that. And then John comes in with it. I'm like, yeah.
Let's bring trial by combat back.
Yeah, let's bring that back. I agree with Gabby.
was
Or
saying,
dueling.
if we can.
I mean, I'd rather have that in like public hangings, because then they at least get a chance, right?
Oh.
But what do you do if the plaintiff is whoever, but the person who's bringing the charges or whatever is like the state. Okay, so you request trial by combat. Like, okay, I'm gonna fight against the state. Like, you pick your best guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, basically,
Well,
they'd all have
that.
each state would have their own
Designated
dude that's just the fighter.
Hey, we're close enough to ancient Roman government parallels, so we don't need any more. Thank you.
Yeah. We got Hunger Games style going on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the purge to be a thing.
Oh.
gladiator rings,
I thought the purge
Okay.
happened every day at 12:05 in Carlinville. Isn't that why they do the siren?
That's a siren. And every
Uh,
Tuesday at 10, or first Tuesday at 10.
does anyone in particular want to bring their topic first?
No.
No.
Mine's
I
a
have-
game. Mine's a
Karen
game.
doesn't have
So we'll
one.
wait till last.
Oh, my topic. I was going to ask for everybody's favorite story or narrative in the Bible and why.
Man, so many good ones to choose from.
Okay, I missed all of that. Full disclosure, because
Just make it up.
these things are
I
driving
asked
me
the
nuts.
question. Just answer whatever you think my question might have
Yeah,
been.
you start.
So a lot of people think that it was Thomas Jefferson that signed it first, but it was actually Hancock. And I mean, I'm not talking about the one that was in the movie, like Will Smith's character, or the
I
musician
thought that's
Herbie
what you were talking
Hancock.
about.
So it was actually John Hancock. A lot of
Okay.
people get that confused. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's what I got for you right now.
That's perfect.
Really tough.
Biblically sound. Biblically
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah. Is that the guy that wrote the Bill of Rights?
No, my question is, what is your favorite story or narrative in Scripture and why?
Oh,
Okay. I think probably okay. Oh, you said narrative though, so like complete story, right?
Yeah. So more than just a verse.
Oh.
Don't be like, oh, my favorite in all of Scripture is Jesus wept, because it shows that he relates with us, and it's the shortest and easiest to memorize.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for. Like narrate, like
Well,
something that happened in Scripture.
You kind of stole that from me, so
Yeah, can't go there now.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And Jesus wept is not the shortest verse in the Bible, just so you guys know.
You're correct. Yeah.
All right, good.
Dang. Yeah, I guess that changes a little bit. I would probably have to say dang. I'd probably have to say Jonah.
Oh, you stinker.
All right, I'm gonna change mine.
Yeah, and no repeats.
I feel like
we're gonna go with
like
Jonah.
it's fantasy football draft night, and Cameron just went right before me and stole my number one pick.
No, I can switch. This is good. I can switch. I'd probably have to go with Abraham sacrificing or going to sacrifice his son Isaac. I think just like from like the beginning of that story to the end of that story, one, it just shows a great detail of faith, to be able to like walk through the process of taking your son to the place that you know you're going to kill him, etc. But honestly, probably my favorite part of the whole story is just the fact that Abraham stopped in the midst of sacrificing his son, told that you don't have to, and then turns around to see this ram with its horns caught in this bush, like ready for him to sacrifice him, like this deliverance of God. And so not only is there a great demonstration of faithfulness in Abraham and like taking his son there, I mean, like contextually that was God's promise to Abraham. Abraham had been waiting for that for so long. And then God basically tells him, okay, now I'm going to take it away from you. Yet Abraham was still faithful inside of that, which is a beautiful thing. But even at the end of that, you see God's faithfulness as well. And like bringing the ram, allowing him to, have something other than his son to sacrifice. So I think it just demonstrates and shows just a great, like, beautiful handshake of like what our faithfulness in God and his faithfulness behind keeping his promises, I guess, if that makes sense. Like it shows the relationship between us and God and how faithful he is, as long as we pursue him inside of that as well.
Yeah, and I love all the parallels that you can draw from that story. Abraham giving up his son and God giving up his, God providing the sacrifice and the ram stuck in the thicket, and God providing the sacrifice for our sins in Jesus Christ. Like, there's so many different parallels that you can draw from that one narrative that, that one's really, really, really rich. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. That was better than Eric's answer. I'm judging you guys. I'm like taking notes.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Adam to have perfect comedic timing and go, yes. So Jonah.
Me too.
I can see it in his eyes. I really can.
I won't. Go ahead, Eric.
Shall I go with Jonah then? Okay. So
yeah.
Jonah for me. Speaking of parallels and things, of everything that goes on, somebody running from God, what they want him to do that is supposedly like faithful to God. And it's just, you think you're safe on the boat. You're not safe on the boat. You think you're not safe in the fish. You're safe in the fish. It's things like that. It's the push and pull of what this person's going through, who should have a 100%, straight up connectivity with God. That should have no doubts because of the things he's already seen him do. Getting to the place where you're supposed to go finally, when you're brought all the way back around. So there's that part in it as well. It's like, okay, you try to go this way. I'm bringing you all the way back around to go this way. And now let's see what you do. He tells them about this stuff. And the person who is supposed to believe in God's power does not believe that he's going to turn the Ninevites around. And the Ninevites do actually start following. They hear of this and they're like, okay. So they start following what God brought Jonah to say to them. And Jonah still sits up on there and be like, okay, he's going to destroy him now. And it's like, you don't get it. And God shows, and it's with compassion where God brought Jonah to Nineveh in the first place. And then you see God's grace and compassion through that as he tries to shade Jonah, who's throwing a hissy fit and all this stuff. And it's just like, it's so reflective of like how we can be, where it's like, okay, God has done these awesome things in us and around us, and still it's got to be like, well, what's it going to take, because sometimes we have a hard time, like I said, I think it was, and Tim said this a while back, but his number was higher than mine. I thought it was like 180 plus times. And then he said something like a bigger number plus times where, do not fear is in the Bible. It's like, well, how many times do you have to be told not to fear and you're still going to fear? It's just within human nature. And we have to lean into God more. And even someone who had leaned into God and was delivering messages for him was this way, where he still feared, he still doubted, he still, whatever you want to call that, just didn't follow through the way he was supposed to. And still God was showing him compassion and grace.
Yeah. And the pursuit of God in that, he's actively running from what God has called him to do. And God doesn't just give up, throw up his hands and say, well, I guess Jonah's not going to do it. Let me find somebody else.
Yep. Well, next guy.
Yeah. God pursues him and says, no, I called you to this and you're going to go and do it. And he, goes kicking and screaming, but God uses Jonah even in that. And just like he uses us in our weakness. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why I was going to say that. I don't know if I'm a giant fan of the story because of his crappiness at the end of the story.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I am a fan simply because, well, two reasons. One, I relate to that quite a bit. Just like in my life, something just being grown up in church, knew my calling, ran away from my calling, wanted to do my own thing, etc. But also, like, I just love that story, and I see that throughout the Bible as well. But there's just a realness to that story that is like just real and authentic to like who humans are and what we could walk through on just a daily basis of like choosing our flesh and like just never seeing the big picture and like all these things, yet God still continues to pursue us and continues to, call those things out in our life. And it's just, just like specifically, I love his prayer. I think it's in chapter 3, like as summarized, he's like, I should be at the bottom of this ocean, entangled in seaweed, just drowning, but yet like your grace succeeds. Like your grace has allowed me not to be in that position. And like, it's just so real and authentic to like who we are. I think a lot of times we can put people on pedestals that are biblical, which is, is fine. But I think biblically people failed too, and people are always going to fail. It doesn't rely on us. It's always God, and it'll always be God and how good he is and the grace he provides for us.
Yeah. And I think that also reminds us of the authenticity of scripture, where God would choose to use these people over and over again who fail, and then tell us about their failures rather than just highlight the heights and the great things that they do. If this were some made up thing, like why put that in there? Why show us how weak they were and how much they failed? Why paint David as this great leader in one chapter and then in the next chapter talk about how he's an adulteress? Like, why not just let David be a great leader? Well, because David's a real person. This really happened. So
Like Cameron mentioned, Abraham. That was,
Yeah.
same deal. Josh's whole thing at camp, he went through I think that whole timeline of Abraham, the ups and downs.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Well, I could easily say Job, but I won't. So I think I probably have to go with Joshua. Specifically, I mean, you have Jericho, things like that taking over after Moses' death. But just the amount of turmoil and the amount of things he went through, not only growing up with through all that, but then taking over and dealing with the people, things of that nature. And then because one of the songs we sing a lot at church kind of alludes to walking around the walls of Jericho, and the song's not really about that, but I think about the persistence of what they had to the persistence they had to have to continually walk and walk and walk and walk, and it's like, okay, things aren't happening. I thought they were going to happen. Okay, we got to keep going. They're still not happening. What's going on? And so I like to think about the persistence of them, of conquering the city, and then even when they tried to conquer Ai and couldn't. But so it's just like that. Just his whole story, I feel like, is ingrained with a lot of perseverance and a lot of just faithfulness. Because even when they'd be whatever, he was still like, God's going to provide. He's gonna give us what he promised. Those kind of things. So I like his story.
Yeah, I love it. My go-to is Habakkuk, but I'm not going to go there because I always do. So I'm going to go with a much shorter narrative than either of the three of you guys chose. But mine would be from Luke chapter 2, where there's this paralyzed guy who needs to get to Jesus. And he's got 4 friends who say, I'm going to take you to Jesus. And they pick him up on his mat and they carry him to Jesus. And the building is packed and they can't get in to get help from Jesus. And they decide they're going to go up on the roof, tear a hole in the roof, lower the friend down at the feet of Jesus. Jesus sees all of this happening, tells the man that his sins are forgiven. The Pharisees start to judge Jesus for this. And his response is, so that you know that I have the authority to forgive sins. And turns and looks at the paralyzed man and says, get up, take your mat and go. And I love that narrative because it shows us so many different things. But one, our greatest need is not a physical healing. Our greatest need is forgiveness. We need to be spiritually healed. And that's where Jesus, that's his mission first and foremost, is to reconcile sinners to himself. And that's exactly what you see here. And that is not at all what that man or his 4 friends intended to happen. They came so that this man who was paralyzed could be healed and walk again, has his sins forgiven, and then Jesus still meets that physical need. So that's one of my favorites.
You know who that narrative always reminds me of, by the way? The guys that are breaking the roof and everything? Cameron, Brent, and Brady. If they were back in biblical at that time, I could totally see him doing something like that.
They're gonna rip the roof off.
Yeah, I seriously, that's who I think of every time I hear that.
I like to think of the homeowner in that story, guys, you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, what goes through your mind? You're one of the friends. Okay, we got to get this dude to Jesus. Jesus can heal him. I have complete faith in that. And you get there, and you're like, okay, we can't get through the crowd. Step plan B. Oh, I know. Plan B. Let's go up to the roof and tear a hole in it.
Why I think of Cameron, Brent, and Brady.
Yeah, but why isn't plan B like, let's like force our way through the crowd, or like put some fish outside and be like, anybody want some fish? And then they all come running out to eat some fish or something. Like, oh no, plan B is tear hole.
I like to think that there was a lot of conversation there. Like, you think about, because I mean they trusted, that Jesus had the power or whatever, and they're like, man, we got to get him in there somewhere. How one of them was like, okay, this is crazy. Let's cut a hole in the roof, and they're all like, no, dude, are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and then it's like, okay, well, that's the only option we got.
That'd be a funny video.
Yeah. Or like, well, yeah, like, I mean, because when you read scripture, sometimes, you're like, there's stuff in between here that's not getting included.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I've always said this, like when I used to do, youth like life group and stuff, which I think Cameron would have been one of my guys at this point, but we're talking about like basically Jesus's disciples were dudes, like they were guys. They probably had made fart jokes, they probably whatever. They were not the amazing disciples like you think about them. I mean, they were all dudes, and so I imagine that they did and talked about things that were not what you would think Jesus would talk about, but like that's the that's the kind of thing that we kind of so thinking about that kind of story, it's like, okay, between them seeing the house and it was crowded to them cutting a hole in the roof, what happened in there?
Yeah.
There had to have been something like, and maybe they were all like, hey, no, yeah, that's a great idea.
Within who I think of, one of these people once was so hot at camp that they did not want to wait for someone to come unlock the thing, the little grate that was over the temperature gauge. They proceeded to rip it off the wall. So there we go.
That wasn't me, by the way.
No.
It was Frank.
It was Brent.
No, it was Brent for sure.
I also like, well, I mean, because then you could go the opposite way where like the other, so there's the one guy and then there's say two with him. The third guy's already on the roof cutting a hole in the wall, in the ceiling, and they're like, what are you doing?
We have to get him in. Come on.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
getting funnier in my mind because it's Brent is the one up on the roof.
Oh yeah.
And instead of what's going on, Brady's like, oh yeah,
That's a great idea.
dude.
Oh man.
I think it's safe to say they didn't get any permits for that, and they didn't construct or consult an engineer. They just did it.
OSHA.
Had on their hard hats and harnesses.
Yeah. Okay, so my topic is okay. So completely ignore your calling. So if you feel called to be a pastor or whatever, ignore that. If you had basically an unlimited amount of money, all right, so you never had to work, you never had to get a paycheck again, what would you do? So what would be your career choice? So don't say preach. I would say missionary might be okay, but like ignore your calling, religion altogether. What would be something that you would want to do?
I would travel.
Travel? Just travel all the time?
Yeah. So if it meant like, okay, I have to make a career out of this, I would be like a travel blogger. And I wouldn't even have to be good because I don't have to make money at it. I just got to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would just travel.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
With your 3 subscribers.
Yeah.
Get all the money in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would get more subscribers than that. I mean, if you had all the money in the world and you got to travel, I'm sure you're going to some pretty cool places. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then do people really follow that though? Like, okay, well that could never really happen if you don't have $1 billion. So I'm not even going to read it.
Yeah, I would do like Instagram. Like I would just become like Instagram famous with all my cool pictures and videos.
Yeah. There we go. That's a good one. I'm going to be an Instagram influencer for travel.
Yes.
That's my career.
Love it.
You're gonna be a TikToker.
Yeah.
That's not happening. That won't happen. And apparently, my wife and kids are also coming with me. So
Well, you'd have plenty of money, so it'd be fine.
I'm in first class on the flights, though. They're back in coach.
Yeah.
Gretchen,
I like
could be in
I like
first
my
class.
rest.
You put the kids in boarding school and it's just you and Gretchen.
I would think with
There we
an
go. I like that
unlimited
part.
amount of money, you have your own private jet. I'm,
That's true.
I don't know if there is a coach in this situation.
Or
Yeah.
you would just fly your own plane.
Yeah, I don't want to be a pilot. No,
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to hire a pilot. So if any of you guys are looking for work as pilots, and I come into an unlimited source of money,
well, actually, that's my thing. I'd like to fly.
I want to do my pilot joke. I'm holding back. Anyway, John beat me to the buzzer because obviously you guys just heard him, but my immediate response was music production for albums, movies, any kind of thing like that, any kind of music production. Build a giant studio, go all out, have all
Do it for free.
the wonderful stuff. Yeah.
and again, you don't have to be good at it because you don't actually have to make money.
And then it would take off so much that Skywalker Sound would just buy that out,
Yeah.
just be a part of that, and I could just sit around and watch everybody produce music. So that'd be great.
I have like 3 answers, man. I do this every single week. It's like,
You need time to narrow down.
and then I'm
You're
like,
so indecisive, Cameron. Just choose one.
I'm just gonna tell you all of them.
Human cannonball.
So I would probably be, oh man. Yeah, I would probably be I'd be like the front man for a metal band, like a post-hardcore band. Like
Of course.
just like touring and opening up pits and just raging.
You can just be the mosher, dude. Just
Yeah, just the hype.
get on.
That too.
Yeah, just be a hype man.
Yeah.
Like the dude from Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Just dance on stage. That's all you do.
I could do that. Or probably like just stream playing a video game. I don't know.
I could say, yeah.
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 Be just a Twitch streamer.
Wasn't there a third one?
Yeah, it's own a game store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You
wouldn't have to worry about if you're doing well in the game. You just
yeah, exactly.
have
And
a
I
Exactly.
bunch of
I should have just said audio production because it just hit me. It's like, oh, I'd like to do voiceovers and stuff too. So, I
Yeah.
mean, just not music, but like voiceovers and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot, and it could happen later in my life. I don't know. But so one of the things I'd love to do is direct film, not like a large budget film, but just just even like an indie film. But so I think, like Gabby and I were discussing this earlier, I think I'd probably direct 1 or 2 movies. And then I would then go and teach production. So, because like one of the things I've thought about is there's a lot of kids in like say Carlinville that we don't really have any production. I mean, there is one, but I won't say anything else. But basically, like I'd love to be able to teach kids in these kind of communities. Because I mean, there are some kids I guarantee in the high school that would love to do that for a living, but they're not getting like the tools that they need to be able to do that. So I think it'd be cool, or even just watching films and talking about them because I love that too. But yeah,
I can see you do like documentary stuff.
yeah, I've honestly thought about directing a documentary about rural America, which I might. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like that's up your alley of like you're teaching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like just researching and like getting the information, like I feel like that's
Yeah.
really up your alley of filming of. I don't know.
I'm gonna make a movie called The Lion King. It's a documentary about lions. Poe Exotic.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So mine may go pretty quickly. It depends on your guys' response. But it's just a question. It's a very simple question. And if you're in the chat, we'd love for you to answer as well. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
What? This reminds me of the thread where it says, how hard would you have to slap a chicken in order to cook it? If you have never read that thread, you should read it, but it's awesome. I have no idea. I mean, chickens to kill an elephant.
What do you think it would take to kill an elephant? Genuinely.
A lot. There's a lot of an acceptable answer.
No, we need numbers, man.
6,543.
Okay.
6,544.
How many? Do you have a breed?
Wait, Price is right there.
Yes. $1.
Do you have a species, maybe? Like what kind of chicken?
There's more than one kind of chicken?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that to Teddy.
Yeah.
I'll ask Teddy what species he thinks I should use to kill an elephant. But I would say roughly, like, doing some math, I'd say like 330 maybe, because they'd be able to actually overtake. Well, if you think about roughly, like, say like an elephant's foot, right? I would say it would take about 8 chickens to surround said foot. So if you think about, then that would be 32 around the feet, and then you multiply it by the height of the elephant. Like I'm thinking about 330 to be able to overtake the elephant and bring it down.
Yeah.
This is your documentary right here. This is This is where
how many chickens? I'm going to ask
a
philosophical question.
And one elephant.
Yeah. I'm taking all roosters, by the way, too. Like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that was a game, but I'm
okay. Personally, I think it'd be 0 because I don't think a chicken could kill an elephant. But
okay,
if it was going to happen,
imagine it's like the chicken from Kung Pao. You know what I'm talking about?
No, because I just eat the dish.
You've never seen Kung Pao, the movie?
No.
It's like a parody kung fu movie.
Oh gosh!
And he fights a cow, and then at the end there's like a chicken that like does a flying kick into the screen.
I'm just wondering what the poor elephant did to provoke all these chickens. What kind of an insult, because I personally never want to say that when I'm around a chicken.
Yeah.
You're not going up to chickens like, I can take you.
Yeah, I'm not going up to a chicken and going, oh, ever. So
chickens can get mean, I'm telling you. They've got sharp talons.
Yeah, just ask. I know.
Do the chickens have sharp talons?
They do.
I know.
Sorry.
Teresa has told me she grew up on a farm, and they had some really. They didn't bother her, but her brother, who's a little ornery, Dan, they bothered him.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm liking Adam's answer. I'd probably say it's a little higher though. I'd say like 425, maybe 500.
But man, that hide though,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to get through the hide.
So that's why I went with like 6,000 something. It was kind of serious. It was half like just a ridiculous random number, but I'm like,
well, maybe you just get a big enough pile of chickens to just suffocate the elephant. But it does have its.
I mean, technically.
So it'd probably be a lot. Maybe like 1,000.
Oh, Alex Bowles, throw that thing up there. That's good. I like that.
Gabby says 17.
1. If
Elephant.
it ate the raw chicken.
Elephants don't eat chicken.
I think he's right.
And if they do, they cook it first.
But like,
Whoa.
if one of the chickens just went like in the elephant's mouth, just like boom.
Yeah.
Big facts.
I disagree with the premise of the question.
So-
I have a philosophical difference here.
I'm not sure if this is a reliable source, but somebody said
Google
500
has
million.
an answer. 500 million. So I win.
If you don't,
There you go.
if you don't like that one, then let me ask you this one, John.
Oh
Well,
no.
there's a second. All right.
Here we go.
Toilet paper over or under?
Okay, so I have kids. So it goes under. Like, so if you spin it, it doesn't unroll.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Ironically with cats too, but
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
right.
that's with me.
I'll see.
Over now. I do it. Oh,
Adam, what? We can't do it.
because we got a new kitten that'll just unroll the whole thing. Like I literally
Yeah.
one day went into the bathroom and just a pile of toilet paper was sitting on the floor.
yep.
I can't do under. It's just not. It's not
Mhm.
okay.
I
It's
can't either.
sacrilegious.
It
Yeah.
sucks, but I have to.
Honestly, in
Yeah,
our
there you go.
bathroom here, it's not on the wall at all. There's like a thing next to the toilet, so it's all like standing up. It's weird.
Yeah. If you look at the patent, it is over. So that is the official way.
Oh,
It's also only
But-
one ply. It's only one ply on the patent. So, I mean, if it's over, you can only have one ply. If it's under, then you can have multiple.
I'm
So,
out.
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
How
Moving
many
on.
oceans would it take to fight the moon? Oh my gosh.
All right, Eric.
Are you guys ready?
Next week.
Bring it home.
Are you guys ready? Well, Cameron's doing the trivia next week, you said? You
Yeah.
got more trivia for us?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. Are you guys ready to play the at-home speed scavenger hunt challenge?
Oh
no.
Yeah, you are. So this is
Depends. Do I have the stuff right in front of me?
I'm like getting ready to leave the room.
stipulation. Stipulations are this item cannot be a part of you or on you. Like, so if I say something blue, you just can't hold up your jean leg.
Okay.
Okay. So it cannot be on you in any way. So
How
round
you better
one.
run?
Round
no
one.
help from spouses.
And everybody at home, I mean, you can participate if you want, but
Gabby just
I have-
opened the gate for me because
I have no way. I have no way of telling. I have no way of telling you if you got something if you're playing at home. But that's a good question, Alex. Can their spouses help? No, they cannot. Hopefully,
Yeah.
nobody will get any help. They have to do the whole thing.
I don't have
Gabby,
Round-
close the gate.
Round one. No, that was fine. They can't hand you they can't throw it at you from the other room. Round number one. Here we go. A book. First one back.
no.
Oh, Adam shows first.
Ah.
We got Adam.
Our
with
bookshelves
one
are
point.
right there.
There's a
Have
book
my
right there, and I went to the
laptop on top of a
bookshelf.
book.
Okay. Now this
There was
is
one
where
right here
this
too. Could have got it quicker.
this is where the stipulation comes into play a little bit. The first one that I said that where it can't be on you. Round two, something orange.
Something orange.
John with a point.
Oh,
Post-it
Man,
I
notes.
was like,
going-
I'm pretty sure I have an
going
orange
quick.
sticky note somewhere.
Because I figured Adam would just be like, beard. Round three, and you get a bonus point if you get the specific one that I wrote down. A playing card.
Oh crap!
Oh my gosh. Y'all can come back, John.
Thank
Oh
you,
yeah, he has
Hayden.
cards sitting there.
John has like cards sitting right there.
Hayden left an entire deck of cards right on the desk.
Oh my gosh.
Was it the Queen of Hearts?
Not horrible.
It has
No,
to be the Queen of
no,
Hearts.
neither of
Oh.
those two. So Adam could technically still get a point if he finds a playing card. if you have them around.
Tell me when. It's a magic.
You just got to
Hold on.
grab one.
Hold on.
You
Hold
have
on.
1 in 50 chance.
He has jokers in here as well, so I got like 50. 52, 54. He gave up. No, he's still going.
He's
Still
still
going.
going. He's
Can't
after
find the
that
playing
bonus
card.
point. Neither of you two got it.
I have
got
no
the
idea.
He gives up.
Who knows where the playing cards are?
Okay. Well, I'll let you have it if just say a card and a suit.
5 of clubs.
Oh, so close, dude. It was actually 2 of clubs.
Dang.
Dang it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, round 4. Here we go. A Q-tip. This is so great. Adam back with the point.
No! Too many doors to open.
That's so great. Oh, cat.
Where's Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't my wife open
I
all
dro-
the doors for me like Adam did?
I dropped the glass jar that these were in. Hopefully it didn't break.
Oh,
All right. Round 5.
cats were scattered. Dude.
round 5 is any kind of candy.
Oh, we just threw a bunch of it away today. Where's the candy?
Yes.
Yay, Cameron! He got one.
Cameron's
Cameron's on the board.
I give up.
Oh my goodness. Cameron got on the board. Okay,
Whoa.
last round, bonus round, worth 2 points. You have to find something that starts with the letter X or Q. Wow, that was flawed. That was very flawed.
Give us a new
Okay.
one.
It's a cutie.
Okay, I gotta give you a new one. Because the Q-tips are already there, Adam.
Yeah,
I did not think
That's
that through at all.
That's unfair.
That was a horrible.
Xylophone.
that was a
Xylophone.
horrible.
Yeah, that was good. That was good, though.
Okay, here we go. New letter. Something that starts with the letter V.
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 Where's the
Violin.
Velveeta?
Violin.
Do we have any Velveeta? Where?
You're darn right. This should happen every week, Alex Bowles.
Does this count? V for Vendetta?
Yep.
Oh,
Got
we
it.
got it.
There you go. Nice.
Good one. Remember the 5th of November. Good job.
Woo. Cameron's still
mean,
gone.
I-
Where's the cat?
I could play this game all day. I got a
Oh
whole
my
movie
gosh.
And it's right there.
There are certain letters that we don't have though, and I'm not sure which ones.
Very
Video
nice.
game.
Very nice.
I gave up. Oh, I have
All right.
video games right there too. Thanks, Cameron.
So, ending score: Cameron with 1, John with 2, and Adam with a total of 4 points to win the game.
Good job, Adam. Good work.
And I was supposed to have the "You're the Best" song queued up on my phone, and
I know,
missed
that's
that
what I was
one, too. You're the best around.
Hey, we got it down to almost an hour tonight.
Oh
That's
my
true.
gosh.
That is true. Yeah, that was hilarious. Where's the Velveeta?
That's all I could think of. I'm sorry.
Could you guys not hear me when I was talking about playing cards in my back room?
I could
Was
hear
the
you.
signal cutting out? Okay.
I think I
Because I
heard
kept
you.
hearing you say something like, is he still looking for it? I'm like,
Like
I don't know where
I
our playing cards
knew,
are.
I knew that was going to be amusing for me, but I may have pulled a muscle laughing at some point at that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. All right.
Oh.
Well,
So
that
next
was
week,
fun.
next week we need to do it again with all 4 of us and take suggestions from the audience what we have.
Or
Like,
we
the
have
the first thing that somebody says, we have to go get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hey, why are you
fun.
wearing your Russian hat? What's going on?
Or
That way-
or we can call them out, like just say whoever's there at the time, we can say, hey, like Alex or Victoria or whoever, give us one.
Yeah, there might be a slight issue with the delay though, because there is a 45-second delay, something like that. But we'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
Oh, I feel like I ran like more than you guys did just from the laughing. It was great. One time when Cameron was gone, his cat was just like in the shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they're talking about the cat over there. I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah.
So good.
Now, what am I going to do with this Q-tip on my desk? I mean, now I got to
Just
go
leave
put
it
that
there.
That was a huge fail on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next-
Something that
next
starts
week
with Q
I'm gonna have
Got it.
like A through Z of items.
on the desk, ready to go.
Sitting on the desk waiting. That's funny.
Oh, all right. Well, this has been fun. That last one was hilarious. One of the things I wanted to mention, first of all, is we hope you can. Aslan's cracking me up. Yes, she is. So one of the things I'd love to mention is we have service at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We hope you can join us on Facebook and YouTube. Tim's continuing his series Live Intentionally, so that's going to be good. And then one of the other things I wanted to remind you, if you haven't heard yet, there's not going to be Miss Kathy's Talks this week, so we're taking a week off. And then we're going to have some cool new ideas happening. So be excited for that. So there will not be Miss Kathy's Talks this week, but there is a playlist on YouTube that has all of them. You can watch them all from all the ones that we posted, which is a ton. So you can fill your time if you want to watch those. But other than that, we will see you guys next time. We are out. See you guys later.
Bye.